Play boosters are just weeks away. Everybody, welcome to Wonders Workshop, and today we are talking about the announcement in Discord from yesterday. Let's go ahead and take a look. As you can see, we got an announcement from Frenchie right here. Big news, play boosters are coming soon. He said weeks away in a post, and here again he says within a few weeks on play boosters. And then he says he wants us to take this survey. It's down here. If you haven't done it, you should do it already. Definitely recommend doing it. There's a lot of good information, and you may be able to get into like a pre-sale or something based off of it. But it also covers collector boxes for Call of the Stones and some other information about Call of the Stones. And so there's just some really interesting information that's on this survey. I'm going to go ahead and click on over to the survey just so that y'all can see this survey. So as you can see, it says it's a product interest survey. Existence play boosters are coming soon. We know that you've eagerly awaited play boosters from our existence set. And we've got good news. They will be arriving soon in the form of play booster bundles. These will be 6 packs each, similar to the collector booster bundles, but built for play. MSRP will be $29.99. So 30 bucks, that's basically $5 a pack, which is lower than the MSRP for basically any other game that I can think of. Let me click over here and just... Now, this is not something that always comes up the first time I search it. And so we may not find it first go. I know that I usually pay something like $6 or $7. If we look at like, let's look at, let's see if we can figure out Final Fantasy MSRP. Anyway, it's not going to come up in a way that I want it to because it's the internet, and the internet is frustrating like that. But I typically pay $7 or $8 per pack, whether it's in a box of packs, whether it's in a play booster box or elsewise. They tend to be way more expensive than this, basically $5 a piece for what is being offered by Existence play booster bundles. So that's a huge thing that I'm really excited to see. Being priced as less expensive for these play bundles at where this game is right now, I think is going to be a huge draw for people like me who are looking to grow our collection, who are looking to, just add to the collection, participate in the game. And for people who have not yet gotten cards yet, the great thing about these play booster bundles is that 6 packs is exactly what you need for limited play. So if you want to introduce your buddies to Wonders of the First, you can just get however many of these play booster bundles that you need and play a limited game, or you can rip them and build from there. Like, there's just a lot of fun stuff that can be done with these play booster bundles, and they're at a really affordable price. And I think that's a huge win for Wonders of the First. One thing that I'm really interested to see is that we only ever talk in this survey. It only ever talks about play booster bundles, not play booster boxes. So I would expect that we're not going to see play booster boxes just based on what I'm seeing here, which I'm wondering if that's because of the versatility and playability of the play booster bundles. I'm guessing that it's probably cheaper to make boxes because there's less wrapping and packing and stuff for 30 than for 6, because there's basically 5 play booster bundles in what would be a play booster box. So like there's more packaging that goes into a bundle. And so if Wonders thinks that play bundles will sell better for new people getting into the game, for collectors who want to be able to play a little bit, or not necessarily collectors, but like people who want to get into the game, or people who are just looking to add a little bit more to their collection. I would expect to see that these play booster bundles are more aimed at that, and that's why we might not be seeing any announcements about play booster boxes, because Wonders is expecting these play booster bundles to sell better. But I'm not 100% certain. Like I said, I think something that's really interesting about these play booster bundles, I'm not going to get the exact wording right, but I distinctly recall Frenchie saying that there's something extra in there. For those of you who don't know or haven't heard me say it enough times, play booster bundles are going to come with paper and common foil. So none of the first edition cards, no formless foils, no OCMs, no stone foils. But if you're not chasing those cards, you can still get everything from a common to a mythic in these bundles in either a paper or common foil printing. So it's a great investment if you just want to get some cards. And I think, it'll be really interesting to see, like, how well these sell, if we can get any game stores to run a draft or a limited, a sealed event, whatever you want to call it, from these. And I hope that we do, because it's a really fun thing to do. I got to participate at the Shattering, and I had a crap ton of fun. I think, circling back to my point earlier, because ADHD brain went burr, Frenchie, I distinctly remember saying there was something fun, a little bit extra to chase in these. And I'm guessing that means an alt art or something serialized in whatever the hit spot for these packs are going to be. Whether it's a formless foil alt art, whether it's some serialized out of 1,000 something, just something a little extra that is kind of nice and cool that we might expect to see in a collector bundle, but there's only, maybe a couple alt art cards, something like that. I don't know what it's going to be. I just remember him saying there's going to be something a little extra fun to chase in there. And I think, those cards will go for a lot of money if that ends up being special cards that are alt arts, or special alt art, or special serialized cards, something like that. The second thing I want to talk about is this Call of the Stones coming in October. And there's three questions that they ask, and I'm just going to cover them in order. If you could order directly from Wonders, how many Call of the Stones collector booster boxes first edition would you purchase? Some people have been confused by this 6 boxes for a case. I think that's because a lot of people in the Kickstarter bought by the case. And it's just a reminder that the case number isn't changing, and it goes all the way up to the highest of the high numbers. And so I think something that's really interesting is that they don't mention what the price of these collector booster boxes are going to be. I think that's going to be a deciding factor for a lot of people. My guess is that the collector booster boxes are going to be around $250 to $300. And I have evidence to support this. So when we go back and we look at the Kickstarter, it's here on this page. You could add on a booster box for $150. You could add on a mini booster box for $45. The mini booster boxes, or bundles, is what they ended up being called. Their MSRP ended up being $50. So that's basically an additional 10%. I'm rounding, not doing fine math here. Just know that I'm rounding. So if we take 10%, that takes the booster box price up to $165. But there are other things, like they did a special sale called the Fine Luxury Cardboard Rectangles Bundle. For $275, you got one collector booster box, one 2-player starter set, and one orbital playmat. So when we think about the value of these things, you subtract $30 for the starter set. That brings you down to 245 game mat. That's probably just being included as a free gift. I guess they had a lot of extra stock on some of those. So about $250 is about what the boxes were costing here. And this was for the first edition, like, special, hadn't really hit stores yet. Everything was still new. So we're seeing about $250 for a box with this bundle. Now, if we look at the math, $50 for 6 packs brings it up to $8.33. If we multiply that by 30, we get about $250 almost on the dot. Lines up. Now, this is all before any box toppers are included. The game is decently popular. Things have been selling out when they have sold. And the current value on boxes are much higher than this. So this is why I'm thinking we're going to be in the 250 to 300 zone. I'm not 100% sure. That's just what my guess is on where those boxes are going to end up for the collector booster boxes that are being talked about here. And I think it'll be interesting to see where they do end up. But I'm thinking about 250 to 300, which even in comparison to other games, collector booster boxes is still way lower. I don't know how familiar y'all are with Magic, Magic the Gathering. I can't spell. That's a well-known fact. So if we look at collector booster boxes in TCG Player, which if y'all don't know what TCG Player is, highly recommend looking into it. And there's a lot of good information on here as to regards of like value of cards for basically anything. I'd love to see Wonders on here, and I think we're going to get there at some point. So let's look at this. This is a Final Fantasy collector booster box. So this is 12 collector boosters. 12 collector boosters for almost $1,200. And it's got 15 cards, 8 to 12 traditional foil, 0 to 3 of these may be surge foil, 5 to 6 cards rarity rare or higher, 3 to 6 uncommon, 3 to 5 common, 1 land. You might get a special print, so on and so forth. But like $1,200 for 12 packs, or going back to the right tab, let's say $275 for 30 packs. It's a huge difference. And I think that's just something, as the budget kind of conscious person that I am, that I'm looking at and going, well, if I'm going to invest in a card game, that's a lot more appealing to invest in. And, Wonders is more of a gamble right now because Magic has been around for longer than I've been alive, but Wonders is doing well. So yeah, that's the collector booster boxes. I don't know what the price is going to be. I'm going to say between $250, maybe $300, and a little bit of change at most. Some people would probably argue higher. I'm thinking if they want to stay low and reasonable, $250 to $315, maybe $325 is about as high as I think they'll go, but I could be wrong. They may, who knows? We'll see. We also see that we're going to be getting play booster bundles with the Call of the Stones, and it's been announced several times that those are going to be releasing at the exact same time. So this is a good time for Call of the Stones for people to be getting in on Wonders at the base of this second set. You can get play booster bundles, you can get collector booster boxes, you can see that we'll be able to be getting mythic decks. Whatever you're looking for, you should be able to get it from Call of the Stones, and you should be able to get it all at the same time. There will not be this when are play boosters coming, when are play boosters coming, when are play boosters coming feeling of, anxiousness and wanting things that we don't currently have. Sorry, I'm talking a lot, so I need a little water. And I think I would expect to see play booster bundles, depending on how well they perform here, like in the next little while for release, I would expect to see play booster bundles at about the same price. If they do really, really, really well, they might go up a little bit, but I think part of the price will be part of what helps them perform well, so they probably won't raise it much. Because, $30, you can attend an event. I would absolutely love to see from Wonders for local game stores, a play booster bundle kit for limited play, that included like some special dice. That could be the gift for participating in the event. You pay for your play booster bundle. The store will give you a dice that has the little Wonders logo on the 20. Yes, this should sound familiar. Make it a spin down dice. It'll sound familiar for Magic players. I know that I would absolutely love to have some Wonders branded spin downs. I'm currently using spin downs as my main action trackers. And they work really well. I don't like using D10s because the number of times that I have gone over needing 10 in both energy and actions is too many to want to be comfortable using that on the regular. And so I think, it just wouldn't make sense as a next step for the game to have some branded dice, and I think it would be a really good selling point for game stores to have these collector booster play booster bundles. Comes in eight in a case, and you can gift them, 16 die, 2 for each player, and then it's your action and your energy counters, and you just play. I think that would be a really good marketing strategy, potentially, but I don't know. I am not, like I said, my major is communication, not marketing. I know they sound the same, but they are not. I think it'd be interesting to see where they take these play booster bundles once we see whether or not they're doing well and if they want to do anything with them. So the last thing to talk about are these mythic decks. Yes, we see that they're a working name, but it's what I'm going to call them until we hear something different. So these are basically the decks that came with the Kickstarter. So they've got a mythic card inside. In the Kickstarter, they were all formless foils. That was, I believe, a stretch goal that we reached, that the mythics in the orbital starter decks, that's their official term, were formless foils. I would love to see that happen again. And I think doing some pre-constructed decks with one mythic is a really smart move, because it's a good way to get people involved. If they're priced right, they'll get people really excited. I think the MSRP on those was also about $50. If we look at the starter decks in the add-on value, they were about $30. So if we scale up again, that's $33. I would expect these to go a little higher just because of what they are. Their value is much, much higher in the resale community. And I don't think they're going to drop those, but so low. But I think it's important to note that there will only be 3 versions. I think it'll be really interesting to see if these are multi-orbital. Maybe each one is dual colors, and we see each orbital represented, each deck has 2, and all 6 orbitals are covered between the 3 decks. I think it will just be interesting to see where these mythic decks go. I think they're a really good move. I don't think their market price should be, personally, I do not think their market price should be more than about $50. If you want to be less than Magic, if you want to be appealing and competitive in pre-cons, about $50 is about what most people are expecting to pay, unless a pre-con goes hard. If it's a pre-con that everybody wants and it's really exciting, it might go up to $75, $80, maybe $100, just depending on the pre-con and the value of the cards inside of it. But typically they sit at about $50, give or take you know, $5-10, just depending on the set and what commander deck it is. There tends to be one most popular one and one least popular one of the 4 released with each Magic set. But I think $50 is about a good price for these. And I want to be clear, when I am saying these prices, I am talking about the MSRP price. I'm not talking about what the resale price on these should be afterwards. I'm talking about if you buy them from Wonders, what should Wonders be selling them for? And, you know, we've seen a lot in the market of people are asking prices for their cards of what they're expecting the card to be worth in a couple of years. And I understand it. Like, I have done that myself. I'm guilty of that, and I didn't realize it until afterwards because that's where the market is right now. But that's not the kind of price that I'm talking about with these mythic decks, with any of the prices that I've been speculating on today. This is the market price that I think these should be sold for from Wonders, or that I think will be sold for, more accurately, from Wonders, and like what realm I think is comfortable for that. And so, you know, it'll be, I don't know. I don't have the answer on all of these. But I think it'll be fun to see where a lot of this goes. I hope that everything launches the way that we expect it to, and I hope that it's all successful because I love Wonders. One last thing to note before I wrap this video up, there is this thing here. If we have a limited sale requiring an access code, to what email address should we send your access code? So this is something that we should be on the lookout for, an announcement or just something going directly to our email. Because if we want to take part in this limited sale, if there is one, this is a reason to do the survey. Even if you don't plan on buying anything in more than the quantity of one, doing this survey, participating in the survey, could get you put into a limited sale requiring, you know, that access code that would be sent to your email. So, you know, this is kind of the big news in Wonders right now, so I wanted to make sure that I talked about it. I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to see where everything does end up priced. I would love, look me in my eyes, I would love to see some comments saying what y'all think prices should be, whether you think I'm way off, whether you think I'm kind of close on the spot, if you've done math that leads you some other way. Like, I'm really curious about where everyone thinks these prices should be. And I'm really interested to see what we as a community as a whole are thinking. So please, as always, like, comment, subscribe, and keep being your wonderful selves.